Thanks. Thanks so much for listening. I hope it's worth your while. Listen, we've been talking about getting, growing, and having great faith, right? I want to branch off just for a second and explain that biblically there's, I don't know if I should say kinds of faith, but it's sort of types or categories of faith. And we're really talking about becoming a Christian that's getting faith, and then growing as a Christian in faith and becoming great faith, right? But even there's other categories of faith I'd like to share, and I just thought I'd share some of these here. Number one, there is a faith in God's existence. You know, Hebrews 11:6, it says, without faith it's impossible to please him, for he that comes to him must believe that he is the existence, the reality of God. There's a real God. The devil has that type of faith. So if you say, I believe in God, I hear this all the time. I just heard it this last Sunday. I was going door to door witnessing, and this guy said, I believe in God, or where did I hear that? Anyway, something like that. Just, I believe in God. I don't remember a woman. Anyway, I was trying to think. So, yeah, but that type of faith qualifies you to be on the level of a demon's faith, demonic faith. Demons believe in God, it says in James chapter 2. So there's God's existence, which is important and necessary. And there's tons of evidence of his existence, by the way. That's another subject. Saving faith. This is where you have a faith that saves you. See, a lot of people believe that God exists, but they're not saved. They're not right with God. There's a saving faith. Mine was October 5th, 1977 on a Wednesday night between 8:30 and 9. I was 18 years old, and I had a saving faith. And God literally put it in my heart. Right? I remember it very clearly. And so there's a saving faith where you're believing Jesus. You believe in Jesus to save you. Next one is a fruit of faith. And this is sort of what we're talking about in growing in faith for the Christian. The Bible says in Galatians chapter 5:22, it says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, gentleness, goodness, faith. Now that word also can be translated faithfulness, and that's where we're going to go on the next one. This is a fruit that grows or also faithful. That word can be translated faithfulness. Faithful, like it's not talking about full of faith, but it's a growing, persevering type faith. You're faithful to God and believing him on an ongoing basis. Now that doesn't mean you don't go up and down. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So we have God's existence, saving faith. We have the fruit of faith. We have faithfulness, which is sort of the same Greek word as faith. And then we have the gift of faith. Now, everything is a sense of gift. Like this was a gift, of God, for by grace are you saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It seems like that faith and salvation is a gift, and I believe it is. A gift from God as you're cooperating with him. He can give you the saving faith. But that's not talking about this gift. This is a specific gift. It's mentioned in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, and I think if you look through the Gospels and Acts, there is a time, it seems, where he manifests or he gives a gift of faith where it's powerful. It's a supernatural event thing. It doesn't always happen every second of your life. Where my faith is saving me all the time, this is an eventful, ever so often faith. And some can operate a lot. The Bible says, desire the spirituals is the Greek of 1 Corinthians 14:1. And what this is a gift of faith that moves mountains. Jesus said, if you don't doubt in your heart, you shall speak to a mountain and it shall be moved. That's Mark 11:23 and 24. Have the faith of God, and that's a special sort of God-given faith that might raise a person from the dead. It's a miraculous thing. Sometimes you just have a faith that hits you and you go boom, and you have a out of the ordinary, extraordinary, or supernatural sort of faith that produces some great things. That was very operative in the life of Jesus, and also in Acts through the Gospels of Peter, and not Gospels, the book of Acts of Peter and Paul and all that. All right, so there is a gift of faith that really is a special sort of supernatural mountain-moving faith. And God can give that to you as you seek him and stay close to him. Another one I would say, I don't know how to describe this other than a specific faith, a personal sort of faith for a call on something. Maybe you're called to a particular ministry position, or called to go as a missionary, or whatever. Or like a call for a promise. God gives you a special promise. He's told you something that's going to happen in your life for future. And that's not really God's existence. It's not really saving you. It's not a fruit. It's an occurrence. It's an event faithful type faith. It's not faithfulness. It's sort of as a gift, but it's you believe God when God has spoken to you. Like Abraham believed God, you know. In other words, God said he's going to have a son. Well, that's not exactly saving faith, but, you know, he believed him. And that faith and all these faith categories, well, not all of them, not God's existence, but most of these, saving, fruit, faithful, gifts, yeah, too, could, and specific, leads you to obeying him. Like, that's where you go through the book of Hebrews chapter 11, for example, and by faith, you know, Noah built an ark because he believed that God was going to send a flood and all that. He acted on it. By faith, Abraham went to a different land. He didn't say, God's going to call me to, he called me to a different land. He just sit there. That's not obedient sort of faith. So that kind of gives you some interesting background. Now I want to touch on, and I'm not going to talk long because I could talk long. I'll try and keep it short. A quick review of the faith subject that we're talking about, how to get great faith, is hearing. We talked about hearing. Faith comes by hearing. And your part is seeking. And then God will speak to you. Faith comes. Seeking him. And that's biblical. As you seek him, you'll get close to him. You get to know him, and he'll talk to you, and faith comes. Source is God. If you just get to God, faith just springs up. It's the same way in many different ways, but one of the forms of that is you have relationships that more intimate, friendships, spouses, etc., that you actually know the person. Like Psalm 9, verse 10 or something like that. I don't know if it's that verse 10, but it says, those who know his name, you know, you'll trust in him. So you happen to have a faith, a true, genuine, authentic, and constant faith in a certain person because of their character. Faith comes by hearing God, true, but faith comes also by knowing God. And as you know him, then you definitely build a trust because he's proved himself faithful to you. So very cool. All right, so that's the source is God. And God is the one that actually stimulates, inspires, and literally gives you faith. Okay, seeing. As you see, I talked about that last one, especially the Hebrews 11:1, faith is the evidence of things not seen. It's seeing something to be a fact and then laying hold on it without your senses. That's an amplified version that I remember from way back. I remember something like that. Seeing something to be a fact without your senses and then laying hold on it. You see, and that's very important. You see something that God gives you to see, and then you have faith, and that's going to happen. All right, senses and feeling. Is it senses and feeling? Well, I know it is not. And this is just a quick note, and a lot of you already know this, but it's a good reminder. Don't go by your feelings. Feelings are transitory. Goes up and down. And sometimes you just hold on to faith. You just hold on to God by faith. You know, just, okay, I trust you, even though everything is saying the opposite. Like my mom praying for my brother, my older brother, he was an atheist hard in the world, and she had God speak to her, got it. She never prayed for his salvation again, and for, I think it was 2 years later or something like that, year and a half, I don't know, that God, and it could have been 10, 20, 40, 50, she may have died and still didn't see it, but she believed. Just like in Hebrews 11, the last part of the scriptures there, they didn't see the promise fulfilled, came later. So, but feelings just are not a part of it. Now, feelings can be stimulated by faith. It stimulates you to joy, and it stimulates you to contentment and feelings of peace. You know, you have peace when you're walking in faith. Therefore, being justified by faith, we have peace with God, and also an inward peace that happens, you know, because of the faith. But sometimes the emotions or peace or feelings or senses are gone, and you're just going by bare faith. Like everything's attacking your faith. There's scriptures that really help you with this, by the way, and you can tell that it's got to be by faith and not by feelings, because sometimes everything is against it, like I said. For example, in 1 Peter chapter 1, it says that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold, that perishes, though it be tried by fire, might be found unto praise, honor, glory at the appearing of Jesus Christ. Okay, that's a lot right there. That the trial of your faith, you're going to be tested. And it's just like taking, if I had gold on the end of this here, and I put it into fire, and I put it into fire, and your faith is going to be tested. God is going to allow your faith to be tested, to burn out any, well, like things around it, unbeliefs or, any impurities in your life, all that just burns because you're going through a lot of fires. That's why you have to have a shield of faith, because the enemy will shoot fiery darts. Or it says, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith works patience. And so all that is really important, that faith is really tested a lot of times. I've been tested recently severely. I've never had such a demonic forces come and scream at me, challenging and tearing at my faith deeply. It's real. So there are spirits that try and cause you, demon spirits that cause you to doubt. He did it in Eve's time. He'll do it in your time. He's continually attacking. He tried to do it in Jesus at the wilderness when he said, if you are the Son of God. Jesus was just told that he's Son of God. He's the Son of God. And he still if you are the Son of God, do this. It's tested him to doubt that, or to also try and tempt him to do something outside of having faith in God. There's a lot here. But feelings are, they change. As you know, we go through mood swings and all. And what you want to do is not go by your feelings or what you see. The Bible says we walk by faith. This is 2 Corinthians 5. We walk by faith, not by sight. Well, I don't have a problem with saying we walk by faith and not by feelings. Your emotions, someday you may not feel like you're a Christian, but you are, So you just have to trust in that. And not senses. You don't go by your senses, your 5 senses. Obviously, you don't go by your senses because God's intangible, for example. Things that are intangible, there's a lot of intangibles. Like I mentioned, joy is intangible. Peace, you can't say, here's my joy, take a look at it. You can taste it, smell it, really. There's just things that are intangibles that faith is a reality of the intangibles, and you can really trust God, what he said in his word. You can trust the Bible. There's too much evidence of the validity of the Bible and the truthfulness of it, the veracity. Oh, it's so good. So, okay, I'll quit because otherwise it's going to be too long. You won't even listen to it, maybe. Thanks for listening. Just don't walk by your feelings and your senses, and trust God. And that's a part of this. We're talking about how to get and grow. You're going to be challenged in your growth, and you may want to dwindle your faith. You want it to decrease. No, let it continue growing and increase. And as the fruit of the Spirit, you will be able to live victoriously in your life, with peace in your life, knowing that God is very pleased with you. It says, without faith it's impossible to please him. With faith, it pleases him. With faith. So walk in faith, okay? God bless you. Thanks for listening.